Welcome to this edition of the MDM podcast. I'm Mike Hockett, MDM's executive editor. I'm sure you've heard and seen headlines these past few years about America's skills gap, which is defined as the difference between the skills that employers are looking for and the training and experience that candidates possess. A skills gap has been expanding in the manufacturing sector for decades, and especially in the skilled trades. A 2022 survey by Stanley Black & Decker revealed that while most high school students think skilled trades are a good career option, just 16% are very likely to consider it. In many skilled trades, the number of retirements is far outpacing that of new entrants into that field. My guest today is Andrew Brown, who is a vocal champion of the skilled trades alongside plenty of experience in industrial distribution. He founded Toolfetch.com, which is an online industrial distributor that caters to the skilled trades. Our discussion explored some of the myths and misconceptions surrounding the skilled trades, how they tie in with distribution, and what inspired Andrew to create an industrial distributor to serve that market. This MDM podcast episode is sponsored by White Cup. White Cup believes distributors will win more with data-driven technology because technology can transform selling for more revenue and sustainable profits. Distributors should use tools that will enable their sales team to make their selling smarter, faster, and easier. White Cup CRM, BI, and pricing solutions are built for distributors and integrated with your ERP. Set your sales team up for success by going to whitecupsolutions.com today and requesting a demo to learn more. All right, well, Andrew, welcome to the MDM podcast.
Thank you for having me.
All right. Well, you've developed a very strong network and as a voice and a champion of the skilled trades to go along with more than 22 years of experience in industrial distribution. So to start off, can you share a little bit about your background, what it is and where your passion for promoting the skilled trades really comes from?
Yeah, so thank you again for having me. So it dates back to September 11, 2001, when I was 23 years old. I was living in New York City at the time, and the planes had just hit the building. And I got this crazy idea to call my friend in Rhode Island and to go down there and try to help. I couldn't just sit there. So I convinced him to come in, and this is only a handful of days after. And he comes in with a big blue truck with a big American flag on the back. He's dressed as a tradesperson. He's got separate overalls and a hard hat for me. And all of a sudden we find ourselves racing down the West Side Highway, going from checkpoint to checkpoint. And then all of a sudden we park the car and we're standing on the World Trade Center where it once stood. And I found myself the entire day helping emergency workers and tradespeople find survivors that day. And what struck me that day, obviously, with what was going on, was watching the tradespeople on site, watching them with no PPE on and doing whatever it took to find survivors. They were running into unstable structures and they were helping clear the path for emergency workers to find survivors. And after that experience, I had a life-changing event, not only personally, but professionally. And I was working in IT on Wall Street at that time, and I quit my job. I literally quit my job only just a couple of weeks after. And I spent months, sleepless nights, of how do I give back to the tradespeople that gave so much that day and throughout history. And that's when I co-founded an online tool and equipment business named Toolfetch with my brother about 22 years ago. We're still going strong. We still love the business today. We sell tools to the skilled trades around the world, professionals such as welders and carpenters and plumbers and other blue collar trades. So these are the men and women who are building our bridges, our tunnels, and our roads. And we reach them by offering one of the largest online tool and equipment catalogs on the internet with over 1 million different products from 650 different vendors. So products like lifts, cement mixers, drain cleaners, harnesses, stuff like that. That is my way to give back to the skilled trades. And dating back almost 22 years ago, seeing them is my way to connect with them. And I've been doing it on a consistent basis, speaking to them behind the scenes around the country, listening to all the issues, the skilled trades gap and wages. And I just felt like I needed to be a voice for the blue collar skilled trades. And that's when I started putting out content and connecting with others out there.
That's an awesome story. And like I said, I've seen you on your social media, but it's definitely not just you. I feel like there's this almost kind of resurgence, this re-promotion of the skilled trades. And it's great to see, especially in this industry that we're covering here with MDM. And with that, from an outsider's view, especially to millennials and Gen Z age people, it's likely that they still view distribution as a dimly lit warehouse environment full of boxes and forklifts, if they even know what distribution is. And given its role in the supply chain, distribution is probably never going to be seen as a sexy industry like the tech industry. But still, there are plenty of things within distribution that I think do appeal to young generations, especially with the technology usage, whether that's in business technology or physical automation technologies, and distribution's just overall vital role to keep economies moving, which we've definitely seen given the supply chain disruptions over the last 3 years. So with all that said, how do you think distributors can go about appealing to today's young people?
And that could be said for a lot of different things. How do you portray an industry like you mentioned that is portrayed as, and I go back to the skilled trades as maybe dirty, dusty, not, plan B, I always say, which is not true. I think it's a matter of one, the industrial distribution is essential. And if you think back, even during sort of the pandemic, they needed to get products out to the end users. Who are the skilled trades? The people who are fixing things, the plumbers, the electricians, the welders, the carpenters, and everything in between. I think it's about sharing sort of what you're doing. You're not just working in a dimly lit warehouse. You're actually a link in the chain. Sales is doing their part, customer service is doing their part, but even people in the warehouse, they need to get the product to the end user. So you need to share with them sort of the stories like, yeah, you're going to ship this particular tool out or the particular product out. You're going to get that into the hands of the people that are actually fixing something, whether it's a bridge, a tunnel, a road, a school, anything in between, that they need to share some of those success stories. Automation, AI, obviously, all that is extremely important. It's an evolution where industrial distribution is going. There's a lot of different pieces and parts in there where a young individual can take advantage, maybe something in social media and helping the company grow on social media, on Instagram or LinkedIn or TikTok or anything in between, because that's where most of people are consuming content and finding out about companies. That's the first thing people do when they go to find out about a particular company. What's their social media presence? Is there anybody on the executive team putting out content and stuff like that? It's so important to be out there and visible. And companies who are not going to grab those people, millennials or younger generation, that are expecting that. So it's a very different world. Even the last handful of years, that you just need to be present, omnipresent across the board in so many different areas.
On the social media front, it's been just kind of fascinating to watch that, there's some companies, even really small distributors, that are doing an amazing job on social media. They're just very present on, 3 or 4 different social media channels. And then there's other distributors that are even mid-sized to large that are just kind of not present on social media much at all. So I've just always seen it as, it's free marketing out there. And it seems like distributors have only scratched the surface overall on how much they're utilizing that channel. I think the infusion of millennials, Gen Z, and future generations they're going to find ways to capitalize on social media for these distributors. I graduated high school in 2005, and at that time, at least where I grew up in southern Wisconsin, the somewhat accepted reality was that if you wanted a good paying career, a 4-year college was the only path, or like it was the path that everyone directed you to. And we all had, a shop class in high school, but I don't really remember skilled trades being something that was really promoted to us at that time. That might be different in different geographies. It might be different today. But do you think a lack of skilled trades education has led to the current or projected shortfall of skilled tradespeople out there? Or is there another major factor leading to the current situation?
Yeah, well, there's a few different factors. It's what's being spoken about in school, guidance counselor, teachers, it's even parents. So depending how you grew up, did your parents go to college? Did they not go to college? Were they in the trades? Did they know anything about the trades? What's said in the household has an extreme, profound effect on a young person. So if somebody in your family says, well, why would you go into something like be a plumber or electrician? That's not the right path. You should get a white collar job. Well, that's already pre-programmed in your mind, right? And then you go to school and you're sitting with the guidance counselor, and the guidance counselor says, well, what school are you going to? Right. And then teacher is also pushing college as well. So there's a few different factors here, but I always feel that people should have options before they sign on that dotted line with college. They should get information from obviously different individuals, and hopefully that's a guidance counselor, maybe a teacher or a parent, that there is another alternative besides college. There's maybe a trades path, maybe going down the route or path of electrician or a welder. I don't think there's enough information out there. And to go back to your question about, or your mention about shop classes, I didn't take a shop class, and I'm 10 years prior to you, and I don't remember doing that. But think about if a kid is mechanically inclined, they have this technical spark, something with their hands. They're taking a shop class, there's something that kicks off that spark that maybe says, okay, they're good with their hands. So maybe a trades path is an option or some sort of variation of it. I found when I went to college and I went for 4 years, I was more lost when I came out of college than when I was in college because I bounced around from career to career. I was a programmer, was doing C++ programming. I was doing advanced calculus. I went into business. I minored in finance. I went into IT and then went into selling tools to the skilled trades because of 9/11. I mean, like, talk about, all the different things that happens, especially, and a lot of people complain, friends of mine, they complain about what they're doing because they say, I'm not in the field I'm supposed to be in. Or people change things when they come out of school. They study, be an accountant, and they decide to do something completely outside of what they studied for. So I think before you actually decide on college is to have all the information lined up. And that really just comes from information coming from the right people, the guidance counselors, teachers, that, yeah, you can take the college path, but you can also take a career path. And you just need to, the kid just, needs to decide which is the best decision for them.
On top of that, at least in my experience going back to high school and college back in the day, the skilled trades, there's always been this inaccurate notion that it was, like you said, something that you pursued if you didn't have the grades to cut it, for a 4-year university. And I know that notion has consistently been proven false over the years, but I'm curious to get your perspective on why that myth exists in the first place and why it's not true.
Exactly. So it's always plan B. It's always for the kids who are not good students, the bad kids, right? That's always the depiction of the trades. I just think it's just an old adage that has been passed down from generation to generation, that if your hands are dirty and you're working underneath a car, that's looked upon as just, white collar, blue collar. You can go back and forth which direction, but it's just, there's something about that that stigma has not left, and it's untrue. It's really untrue that, there are people who do extremely, extremely well in the trades, whether they work for another company or they own their own company one day, or they're a CEO of a construction company. Those are the guys, those are the men and women who have the biggest house on the block. It's so true, you know? And I just think it just needs to change. I just think it's about messaging, like podcasts that are put out there, maybe my videos that are out there, and Mike Rowe, and all the different people that are doing stuff and putting stuff out there about sort of the trades, that it's a viable career option and you can do extremely well if you put the time and effort into it. I do think kids want instant gratification. They want something today. You do have to realize it's going to take years, and you're going to have to be an apprentice, and you're going to have to be a journeyman, you're going to have to be a master, and then you're going to have to build your skill level up. But that just takes time. And I think that somebody needs to share with a younger individual, someone like a mentor, someone who has been down that road, can instill all that information into a young person's or future or possible future, that it's possible to be successful in the trades.
I mentioned earlier, it seems like there's this kind of resurgence or kind of repromotion of the skilled trades, but I just wish that this kind of movement would have started, 20 years ago, or at least 10 years ago. We'd be in a better spot than we currently are. Looking back, I think if the potential salaries of those skilled trades was better promoted, a lot more of my fellow classmates would have at least seriously considered the skilled trades as a career path rather than assuming that they had to take on a mountain of student debt and not start making money until they had a 4-year degree at 22, 23 years old or later. So can you touch on, you already alluded to this a bit ago, but what that current pay scale or potential pay scale looks like for a few of the skilled trades out there?
Yeah, so this is people just starting out. So a maintenance mechanic, 38,000, a painter, 35,000, a pipe fitter, 49,000, an electrician, 44,000, an aircraft mechanic. I'm just going to throw off a bunch of examples. Aircraft mechanic, 49,000, an elevator repair installer, 73,000. I mean, that's coming out, with hopefully no debt or minimal debt, that you're right away making money and good money, depending obviously where you live in the US. But compared to somebody who is just coming, like you said, just coming out of college, has, let's say, 100K in debt, and then doesn't get a job right away, and then has to kind of feel their way out. And I always say, then there's more debt, then somebody buys a home, and then there's a mortgage, and you know how that kind of stacks. So that's why it's attractive going, or at least as an alternative, to go into the skilled trades, because you are making more or less good money straight out of the gate with less debt, and it doesn't really follow you like it does like college.
I know that distribution technically isn't viewed as a skilled trade, at least for certain positions in distribution, in the sense that sales staff, warehouse staff, and management or executives typically don't have those technical hands-on skills that someone that in the core skilled trades follows, like electricians, plumbers, welders, maintenance professionals do. But the skilled trades are the end users typically using the products that distributors are selling into. And depending on the size of the distributor, many of them do have skilled trades people on staff to service the customers with their installation, the maintenance, troubleshooting, the repair, design, or other after sales services as part of those distributors' value add offerings. So any thoughts of your own on how the skilled trades can tie in with distributors?
Yeah, it's so extremely powerful when a customer is on the phone, they're asking an application, and the other person on the phone who works for the distributor knows the application, has walked in those shoes. There's something very powerful that they can connect, and they're an electrician, or they once were a plumber, maybe they retired, or they kind of moved on from that field. I think that is so strong for industrial distributor today, of just having the salesperson. Yeah, maybe they can sell the tool, but it's the other side of, they know the application and can walk through. Because there's a lot of times, even I'm on the phone with a customer and they have a particular application I may or may not know, and I try to do the best of my ability. If I can't, maybe I get the manufacturer involved. But knowing firsthand that you've gone through that and you can walk them through, can establish not only a relationship, but keeps the individual customer coming back, because they know that the distributor is investing in this type of assistance where other distributors are not. So I think it's extremely beneficial to have somebody in the skilled trades on staff who really can connect with a customer or somebody who's in that field.
Yeah, it's those value add services that distributors are really differentiating themselves from, their fellow competing distributors and, manufacturers, Amazon. It's why people choose distributors. And oftentimes it is those skilled tradespeople that are, empowering those value add services. We've covered extensively over the past year on MDM how distributors, like most of the manufacturing sector, have found the current labor market very challenging to recruit in, to retain talent in, especially on the recruitment side. They're having to get creative when it comes to attracting new college grads and expand their pool of where they are promoting to universities and trade schools. So do you have any general advice for distributors out there of how they can get in front of these kids who are currently in college and soon to be job hunting?
Yeah, so obviously there's a couple of different ways. A job fair. So if somebody is walking around the job fair, who's at the job fair? There's colleges, maybe a couple of companies, but maybe a construction company's there, or an industrial, distributor. I think it's about sharing. Let's just say I'm just using an example of a construction company. A construction company can show kids what it's like to be on the job site. What's a day in the life of somebody in that field, and sharing the path of success. What does the ladder of success look like? Well, you could start here, but you could end up here. Obviously, there's work in between. Just sharing the success stories and also mentorship and training. That's extremely important. That companies need to have that in place, that they can level up their skills and connect with somebody who's been there and done that. That's extremely important, of having that plan in place. I think companies need recognition. I don't think it's all about wages. I think it's about valuing your employees, your core values. What do you stand for? There's a lot more that I believe kids want to be involved in. It's not just wages, because you could work for a company, make good money, and not be happy, right? And you don't want to get up every day. You want to get up every day, be excited, work for the company. We're all pulling together to get the company to a certain level. So I think companies need to share the success stories, the recognition. Obviously, wages are there, but not obviously as heavily. It shouldn't be as heavily promoted as the other stuff. But I think it's a combination of a few different things, of getting a kid interested, and also sharing. If it's a construction company, if they're working on a bridge, a tunnel, a road, well, the road is going to get people to work. You're building a building. Okay, well, that's creating jobs for people. A bridge, a tunnel, anything in between, and just sharing. Or a school, building a school, and kids are going to go to school and they're going to learn. So that's pretty cool to understand that it's not just you're building something for other people.
Yeah, showing them that they are making a difference is definitely huge right now. I know you touched on it at the start, but I want to give you a chance to talk a little bit more about toolfetch.com, which, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think you described it as an online distributor of industrial tools to the skilled trades. Can you just give another synopsis of, what Toolfetch looks like today, and anything recently that you guys are up to?
Yeah. So for us, we are building out a commercial sales team. So we're building out territories around the country for sales reps to reach out to existing customers and to expand sort of the relationship. So we have three arms of our business. We have the e-commerce side, where somebody just wants to order online. Maybe it's someone in the field, like an electrician, just wants a hands-off approach. I'm on my mobile phone. I can place an order quickly to, if I need to repair something. Some people want that approach. Some people want to call in. They want to talk to somebody. We have that as well. And then it's the relationship side of the business, and calling on accounts and expanding sort of that relationship and our offering. So we offer over 1 million different products in a lot of different categories. So understanding their business, customer's business model, and understanding what their needs are, that they can get the products on time. We have a knowledgeable staff. We're passionate. It's not just we're selling tools. We're passionate. Obviously, a lot of it's my mission, but passion behind this is really supporting the skilled trades. And I always say we're a link in the chain. We are a bridge between the manufacturer and the skilled trades doing the work. And we are getting the products from the manufacturer into the hands of the skilled trades. And that's what we've been doing for the last 22 years. And we're pretty excited about the future, where it's going.
That's awesome. Any final thoughts here for our audience before we wrap up, whether it's about the skilled trades, distribution in general, or just anything else that you want to share with our audience of executives?
Yeah. So the skilled trades, and hopefully that message and that old adage can hopefully start to dissipate, and kids can be interested. My goal in this whole thing, and it's more of a mission than anything else, is to change one kid's perspective. That if somebody sees my videos on LinkedIn or TikTok, or captures a podcast like the one that we're on, and says, you know what, I have this mechanical ability. I'm really good with my hands. I like working on things. That, hey, you know what, trades path might be a good option to explore the opportunities I was thinking about college, but now I have this other option. If I could change that one individual, that's a win in my book. And that's really the hope for me in the future of this, is just to be a promoter of the skilled trades, to be a voice of the skilled trades. And they are essential. Without them, we are not in a good position. That in the next 5 or 10 years, 40% are retiring, and we need to do a better job to promote the skilled trades. We have a C-minus infrastructure in the US, and we need to get that to an A. How are we going to do that if we don't have the people, the hardworking men and women who are doing that job? And that's why we just need to continue to promote the skilled trades in college and, social media and everywhere else.
Yeah, we definitely need more young people in that pipeline. Well, Andrew, thanks for all your insights here, and thanks for joining the MDM podcast.
Thank you for having me. Thank you, Mike.